Hello, everybody, and hello, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ladies, and my handsome gentlemen, my very handsome gentlemen. You know, I have to give that very sultry sound when I'm talking about my gentlemen. Yes, because my gentlemen are so special. I have to say it like that, you know? Lord, my beautiful people. We're having a character building year last year since the COVID pandemic, the coronavirus. Um, it is to teach us endurance, to teach us long suffering, patience, and understanding. Because, you know, this year should be a year, even since last year, but this year. So let us say the seed was planted last year. A little of it should be budding now for this year in teaching us understanding, because a lot of people are going through it. A lot of people are going through it financially. A lot of people are going through it mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, educationally, even sexually. You know, they're struggling. Some men are suffering from erectile dysfunction. They can't please their wives, unfortunately, and usually when they check it, it leads to stress, because maybe financially they can't take care of their wives. Maybe there's a hereditary illness, you know, some illness that was passed on from generation to generation. Maybe poor eating habits, they develop some sickness or disease, something. But all of it is going to link back to finance, because it's going to take money to go to the doctor, to pay for the medication, to sustain yourselves otherwise. And a lot of persons are going through it, you know. I was having a conversation with some ladies today, and you know, they were finding out information about Ava Thelwell, who had committed suicide recently at the by the flat bridge there. Turned her car, God, I can't even say it. And when they checked it, I don't know, she had financial difficulties. Maybe she had debts and couldn't deal with them, because that is horrific, you know, when you have debts and you can't deal with them, and you're trying to get help, you can't get help. You're probably trying to do a debt consolidation, can't get any loans because your credit service ratio is bad, and it is just horrific, and you have nowhere to turn, nobody to help when you seek help, or afraid of being judged as to why you're in that particular position, as if, you know, they themselves are perfect. Maybe that's not their area of weakness or challenge, but it is somebody else's. In fact, it's a lot of persons, a number of persons, not because they look good. And if she sought help, maybe they're looking at her, they're going to judge her because they have her maybe as somebody who seemed to be well off. And sometimes the ones who look well off, you know, are the ones who are struggling. The Bible says help. That is why the Bible says help the poor and needy. It says help the poor and needy. I'm reading 2 Corinthians chapter 8, it is. Verse 13 to 15. In particular 13 to 14. And Paul was saying, look, help the needy. For those of you, I'm not trying to burden you or pressure you, but help the needy, because you have surplus right now. I'm paraphrasing. Because one day, the script will flip. And when you are in need, that very same person will help you. So at least you'll be on equal ground. So sometimes it's not a matter that somebody is pressuring you and you want to have your money so you can do whatever it is. I'm not talking about paying your bills, but you might have extra. I heard a pastor saying God might give you that leading to give the person, buy somebody the home, buy somebody a car, you know, pay somebody's bill, buy them grocery. In a Jamaica, yeah, it's not too much for us. Yes, we can fall in that category. I think it was in the book of Acts chapter 2, 44, 45. It says, and they sold their possessions to help each other. You heard that? They sold their possessions to help. Amen. They sold lands, they sold houses, cars, whatever it is that they had back in the day. It would be the equivalent of this modern day technology and the modern day amenities that we enjoy today. But we seem like we don't see it like that. We feel that it's too good to do that for anybody, unless it's a spouse or a child. No, we can do that for each other. It's human to human love. Human to human love. and we miss the mark, and we're realizing that we're not growing, we're not prospering, because we're not our brother's keeper, we're not our sister's keeper, we're not helping each other. I remember a particular contestant had won the American Idol. I think when it just started, it was Kelly Clarkson, and she said to her best friend, I promise you if I win, I'm going to buy you a car. And she kept her word, because they showed the car that she bought her. I mean, when you hear these things, I only feel it's only in America or England or one of those countries. It can't happen here in Jamaica. Is it that a pure mean people and stingy people there, sir? Or selfish people? And I'm talking about those who have plenty. He was specific in that. And if we check some of our own selves, we know what we can give from what we can't. And earlier in I think the chapter before, it spoke about those who gave even above what they could have afforded to give, and God blessed them. There are moments for that, and it's not something that it's not a practice, it's not a habit that you, for example, if you have a light bill in that way, constantly give it away like that. But sometimes you do that, and God say, you know what, I'm just send Tom, Dick, and Harry to pay a light bill, not in the sense of any, like it's getting, like in a sexual sense. It's like a good Samaritan sense. It could be Jill or Jane send somebody who genuinely said, the Lord sent me to pay for you. There are no strings attached. And on top of that, because they sowed that seed, something more blessings came of it. So their light bill was paid, water bill, food bought, maybe something that they wanted was given to them. God laid it on somebody's heart. Because I tell people, we cannot outgive God. I think we have been socialized indirectly, subliminally, to think that if we give it, we'll not get it back. We cannot outgive God. If you have 10 billion pounds sterling, it's like 1 cent to a human being. 1 Jamaican cent to God. Sorry. It's like, and I said human being in the sense that what 1 cent would be to us. That's what 10 billion pounds sterling would be. If it's 10 billion infinity dollars, I mean, I can go on and on. It's a joke to God. It's like poverty to God. That's a joke money. He owns the world, the universe, everything. So you can't outgive God. I never forgot years ago, my pastor preached of a man out here in Jamaica. He had some land. He wanted it to be sold, but the difficulty sometimes in getting the land sold, because of you don't want a breach, and you want to make sure it's surveyed properly. The whole ramification and legalities behind these things. And him go east, west, north, and south. All north, west, north, south, west, south, east. Nothing would happen. And he had a brand new car that he bought, and God said, give it away to whoever. And I him say, what? You buy a car? You see it? I can feel it too good to give it away to a stranger, so to speak. Right here in Jamaica. Anyway, he obeyed God eventually. He settled himself and said, you know what? Let me obey God. That's how he valued God. God had to bless a man like that. Within a week, his land, everything that he needed was freed up. And he could have buy back the car how many times over. You can't outgive God. You cannot outgive God. And when I thought about Ava Thelwell's situation, I'm sure maybe, even though they said that she was an introvert, but there's that possibility that maybe she reached out to somebody and said, look here, this is my situation, and just got backlash. I'm saying, and I don't want to be negative. It could mean that. Because I know how it is here in Jamaica. I remember saying to a church sister once, that I was in a little difficulty. And the lady said, I sent her the message. She thought my phone was hacked and went on and on. And I said, it's me. It wasn't even much. And she said, no, it can't be you. And when I eventually called her, via, we call it WhatsApp video, I can't believe it's you. I'm taking her back. I'm just kept repeating that. And I'm like, what? Somebody's in need, even if you don't feel that persons like me can get to that stage. You have persons who were multimillionaires and life just happened and they're no longer that, unfortunately, and they need help, and they sought help. And I said, and I just had to say, I'm so sorry, I made a huge mistake. I do apologize. I was just in a band, but I realized I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. Take my humblest apology. I should not have asked you for assistance. And that's how we treat people. especially if you feel that by looking at them, you feel that they should have it financially, and they should never be in a financial rut, and they should not ask for help. But the only way individuals will understand is until they get in that position. And that is why Paul had said in 2 Corinthians 8, him say, because you have plenty, give, because one day you're going to be in the person's position and they will help you. So one day you can get there. May not be today or tomorrow, but you can get there. Doesn't matter how high you think you are. And then you will understand, and you would say, oh my God, this is what Toni-Ann or this one was going through when they sought my help, and I basically rejected them, scoffed at them, ostracized them, because they probably didn't look like the man on the street scrambling. So how dare you ask for help? Basically, that's what you're saying. As if people who, even if they're working or whatever it is, can't have difficulties. They can't too, you know. For myriads of reasons. It could be poor choices. It could be choices that may not have been wise. Trying to do business. Trying to, maybe family members, you know, getting ill and they have to contribute to that. Debts are incurred in different ways. And they need help. They need a footing so that they can come out. And when they come out and build themselves, they can help somebody else. It's a chain reaction. Ava Thelwell did not have the help. She could be clinical depressed. Somebody who knows, I said to somebody, just looking at her, I'm wondering if that is also a part of it. And it is as though you mustn't ask for help. And it is something that we need to get out of. We were not created to only satisfy our personal needs, our own selves, or maybe or your children, or maybe spouse, mother and father. We're here to help each other. It's human to human. It's human to human. Sometimes I watch, you know, these persons from different countries, you know, like especially in the United States, where they take care of even animals, the lower form of mammals. I'm talking like dogs and cats and all of that. How they take care of them as though you would think, I mean, is a spouse. And for human to human, we can't do that. We scoff at it. Or we slander the individual. We treat them as if they're dung, as in doo-doo. Because they must never be in need. And I'm not saying that people must make wise financial decisions. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying life happens. Somebody told me if a lady who had 4 million Canadian dollars and sickness took out every cent. So anything can happen. Life happens, people. People make mistakes too. And that's life, that's part of life. But if they're now in the learning stage and trying to do better and asking you for help, help them, no man. One day when be in a position where you need help, you know, financially too, you know. One day you'll be there, may not be today or tomorrow. You have people who live so-called good all their life and they think all is well, and when they look, they crash. I said, oh my God, how the heck did I get here? But they didn't remember how they treated Jill, Jane, Toni-Ann, and this other individual back in the day. They didn't remember. They felt like they were always going to be on top. They felt they always will be on top and there was never any difficulty. There are many people who look good. They look good on the outside. They probably have a house, a car and all of that, but they're struggling. They are struggling financially because of just life situations which come in different ways, whether they induced it or not. And if they seek your help and you're able to help them. Good God, people, help them. Have a little heart. Especially if some of you say you're Christians. Whether you're not you're even a Christian, if you're a human being, my God. Because one day you're going to be in that position. One fine day. One day you're going to be there. And you're going to remember. And you don't want your regrets to be too high. You don't want to say, why didn't I help when I could have? Why did I scoff at that person? Why did I behave that way and reject them and ostracize them and treat them bad? And even tell others how dare them ask. And ask big too. You don't want to be in that position, my beautiful people. Please. Avathelwell life is gone. Somebody told me if a taxi man last year before, I think it was, or maybe even 3 years ago, he killed himself because he couldn't pay his bills. His debts were too high. Maybe he tried everything that, you know, in the right way. decided he didn't want to scam and thief. I'm just saying, you know what, nobody's helping me and I can't manage, and I can't manage the bailiffs and everybody calling and tormenting me and making me look bad. Yes, I made a mistake. Yes, or I did, or it's not a mistake. I had needed help because of something was gonna happen, and he couldn't pay his bills. I heard Les Brown even said it. He said, you know, he remember the days when he used to borrow, and when he told the people a timeline, it didn't work out. He felt so bad because they look at him away and make him feel so bad, and he knew he wanted to pay. He tried his best, and everything just fell through. Like maybe businesses he was doing, it just couldn't work. And he's like, what the heck is going on? But you see what life is? He was there, and maybe, so I can imagine some of the people who shunned him and treated him bad, how they regret it to this day, because look at him now, a multi-millionaire. They never knew that one day the tides would turn, and I'm sure that some of them probably in a bad position now financially, and they had no choice but to humble themselves and reach out to him. We have to extend compassion and understanding and love people. We have lost that. If we had that, maybe that lady would have been alive today. Whether she wanted to be quiet as a lamb, she could have quieted till she barely say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Somebody would have broken that barrier and reached down into her and found out and found ways to help her. You see, somebody ask them, how you doing? What's going on with you? Ask them questions about it. Make them think if you want fast. That's their prerogative. You know your motive. That is deep concern, because you questioning them can just save their lives. Because maybe they were thinking of committing suicide. Somebody said they saw a site, and on the site they said they would have done the very same thing. And not out of, they weren't saying it in the sense of not of lack of compassion and lack of compassion or not being concerned. It was at the pain and the agony that stress can bring on to you. They probably would have just do the same, especially if nobody's helping you. People are afraid to share what it is that they're going through because people slander them, use it against them, and tell the world and mock them and treat them badly. Oh yes, we are awful as Christians, as people too, sometimes. We're awful. We treat each other as dung, as do. The very same way of you filth. That's how we treat people. I'm telling you, whether you come from in the church or not, it's a sad state of affair, but it is reality. And you can't go to them for help because how dare you, basically. That's what it comes to. How dare you? Especially if it's a big amount, Lord. Mind you, them call police by you and lock you up. How dare you? How dare you? Yet in Acts 2:44 to 45 or thereabout, it said, and they sold their possessions to help each other. They sold their possessions to help each other. So if you say a little giving, the Bible says if you sow sparingly, that is how you're going to reap sparingly. You sow bountifully, you reap bountifully. I always say that you know the maximum in which you can give. You know, if you can give $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $100, $200, $300, you know what you can give. You know deep in your heart. All of us know it. But that innate selfishness, we feed it because it feels good. And then when life happens and you see how, and you think, you say, oh my goodness, but that's the seed I had sown. That's the very seed I had sown many years ago. Didn't care about anybody else. Or even if I did give it, sparing, it's stingy. And this pandemic it has unearthed a number of things, and yet some of us still hold on. I'm telling you, we're in the era where we had learned, we can unlearn and relearn. And I kept wondering, in the Bible in those days, they were so blessed. They gave a lot. Do you realize that in Jesus' tenure here, while he was here physically on earth, it was always some giving, doing some blessing of people, making them successful in some ways, or giving the 5,000 fishes, the wine, turning the water into wine. Some giving some, and there were many other instances while he was here that he fed how many thousands of people with fish and bread and this and that and the other. There's a principle here. So if we put it in modern day language, modern day term is probably giving money to this or that or the other. Kept doing that. There's a principle behind giving. I remember hearing my pastor preaching and said throughout the Bible, it's about giving, and you just get blessed. David was so blessed. The Bible says he made him successful because he dealt with people fairly and justly, and he was a giving man. Yes, and him son too, Solomon. Even when Solomon strayed, giving people kind-hearted, kind with their money. I tell you, a truly kind person is somebody who's kind with money. A truly kind person is somebody who is kind with money. When you're kind with money, you're truly kind. I know some people may not literally have it, but once they have it and they give it, they decide, say, boy, you know, I'm going to sow a seed. I'm going to trust God and know that this for pay. And I'm not saying that it must be a practice, but they might say, they know this will pay the water bill this month or this, but why I need. I heard Dr. Miles Monroe said he had like, he had his tuition to pay. And he would have like maybe $2,000. His tuition could be maybe 20,000 or whatever, and they add it up or more. He said, but boy, and there's not this can't pay at all. I don't even know what, maybe not even the miscellaneous fees, nothing. He said, he just gave everything. He just gave everything. He had just done that. And when he gave everything, he said if he gave that, let's just say he gave it the Thursday, by the Saturday when he opened his, that back in them those days, he said, you had like the students' boxes or something that people could contribute. Him saying, see some envelopes with money. Could have covered tuition, this, that, and the other. Because he genuinely gave it to God. 2,000 US. Oh, sure. Oh, you think that is anything to God? God might put on some of your hearts to give that amount. You can do it to a friend or somebody you know, and then fight the feeling and say the devil and no, it's wrong. Because if me do me lose out what? You cannot outgive God. Lose out my foot. You do that, somebody call you and say, say, I want you have a job for you to do, and you get back 4,000 US, 5,000. You cannot outgive God. You can't tell God how it is that you're going to get back your money. He has his ways of doing it. But we have missed the mark. All of us, we have missed it. And then when we're in the spot now where we need help and no help comes, we wonder why. And nobody feels sparing giving is something that's going to be lauded. When it's sparing and you know you could do more. You know that you could do more. Avathelwell's life is lost because maybe she sought help eventually and nobody was there to help her. Who knows? Anywho, have a good one, my beautiful people. I pray that we'll somehow change for the better. Transform for the better. Alright? Yeah, man. Have a good one. Take care, love, you. Stay blessed. And keep sweet.